Okay, so before I begin, did one of you send me like 10 boxes of rice? So I mentioned I live at home these days, right? So one day my mom wakes me up at like 7 a.m. in the morning, and then she's like, hey, did you order a bunch of stuff? And then I was like, still half asleep at the time, right? I was like, yeah, I ordered a keyboard from work. Why? What's up? And then she's like, I'm gonna need your help carrying some stuff from the truck. I'm like, the truck? What do you mean the truck? Like, Well Simple sent me a truckload of keyboards? And then she's like, no, they don't look like keyboard, they look like food. And I was like really confused, right? So I went outside and I talked to the delivery guy, and sure enough, there was like a truckload of like boxes of what looked like food. And then the delivery guy hands me a bill of sale, and there was no receiver's name on it, there was no return address on it, but my address, like my parents' address, the receiver's address was correct, right down to the postal codes. So let me show you what the rice looks like right now. And as you can see, I stacked it up in my garage right now. And yeah, like, it's rice. So I checked if there were any suspicious charges on my credit cards and stuff like that, and there weren't any. And I also asked my brother and my dad if they ordered it, and they both said no. So now I'm just hella confused. I legit can't make this stuff up even if I wanted to. They say that sometimes life is stranger than fiction. Yeah, it's true. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with this rice. Like, I don't want to donate it because it's kind of like a liability issue, right? Because I don't know where it came from. But throwing it out seems like a waste too. So, should I just eat it? And you are talking about Asian and rice, so draw your own conclusions, right? So anyways, let me know down in the comments below though if you want me to eat the mystery rice. Maybe I'll film it and put it as part of my next video if you guys want me to. I don't know, it's kind of sketchy though. Let me just jump into the rest of the video though. So we're not here to talk about rice today, don't worry. Let's talk about stocks. Well, I figure that since it's October, besides drinking pumpkin spice lattes, I figure I'd give you guys another update on my portfolio and what my strategy is going forward into October. With the American election looming and with the RONI situation really ramping back up in a really bad way again, there's a lot of market volatility in the markets, obviously, these days. So what's my strategy going forward into October? Before I begin, I just want to make a disclaimer. I'm just sharing some of my opinions in this video about what my strategy is. This is by no means a recommendation, so please do your own research before buying or selling any stock. Don't just listen to some random guy on YouTube, right? This is not financial advice. This is just for reference and educational purposes only. So with that out of the way though, it hasn't been that long since I posted an update video, and overall my portfolio hasn't changed that much since the last time I posted that video. So instead of going through each and every stock that I hold in my portfolio again, for the sake of not being repetitive, I'll just go over some of the changes that I've made in terms of my position. So if I added or trimmed or sold out of a position, I'll tell you guys about those. And if I didn't mention it in this video, then it means I didn't touch it from since the last time I made the portfolio update video. But first, before I talk about individual stocks, so let me just share some of my general thoughts about the stock market going forward, because that'll kind of allude to the reasons why I made some of the moves that I made. So what do I mean by that? Well, in case you haven't noticed, the RONI situation here in Canada is getting really bad again, right? So just looking at a chart of daily new infections, you can see that it's pretty clear that the second wave is already here. And if you look at other countries, you'll see a similar story with daily new infections ramping up or approaching the highs that we saw back in July or June. Most importantly, since most of my stocks are US based, let's look at the chart for the United States for daily new infections. And as you can see, it's not as high as they were back in July, but keep in mind that daily new infection rates in the US never really fell that much from its peak in the first place, and lately it has been trending up as well. And all of this is leading to fears of a second shutdown, and I can attest to this personally because one of my coworkers from Well Simple, who lives in Montreal, I heard that the RONI situation is getting really bad in Montreal and in Quebec in general. So apparently Quebec is a lot worse compared to other provinces here in Canada in terms of daily new infection rates. And basically my coworker told me that shops in Montreal are already beginning to shut down again. So yeah, when she told me the news that they were shutting down again, I was like, the scared monkey meme. Yeah, like I was like that. And in the US, I know that the Trump administration has pushed back against the potential of a second shutdown, but in my opinion, if things get worse, I'm afraid it will be out of the control of the US government. So businesses will begin to shut down again if things get much worse, regardless of what the government wants to do in either United States or Canada. So with this in mind, I had to reevaluate my strategy and decided to distance myself from recovery stocks as much as possible. So I might be wrong on this, and I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I really do think that our situation now is similar to our situation back in February. So if you recall, back in February, it was ramping really hard. The RONI was ramping really hard in Europe, and then it came to North America, right? So it got really bad in Europe first, and then it got bad in North America. So now we have a similar situation where if you look at the numbers and say like the UK or France, the RONI situation is getting really bad there. So with that in mind, I had to look at my recovery stocks, especially the ones that I was up a lot on, and I had to think, do I really want to be in those industries right now, right? So an example is Tapestry. So I bought Tapestry less than a month ago, and I got to think to myself, do I really want to be in retail right now? I sold out of my entire position of Tapestry, and I made like 14% gain on it just because my cost basis was around $14.45-ish. And I know this one isn't a recovery stock, but I also decided to ditch all my shares of Nordic American Tankers. And I actually took a small loss on this one, and I didn't have a big position in it anyway, so I got paid dividend once along the way. So maybe I only lost like less than $200 in total, so it's not as bad as it initially looks. And basically this one didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. And to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of commodity-based businesses. So if you don't know what a commodity-based business is, by the way, they're basically businesses that sell products that are the exact same as products you can get anywhere else, right? So this mostly applies to raw materials like oil, precious metals, lumber, foodstuffs like corn, like flour, for example. So, for example, corn from one farm is the exact same, or should be the exact same, from corn that you can get from another farm that's like a 4-hour drive away, right? So if you're in a commodity-based business, the problem is that it's really hard for you to build a brand around yourself, and it's really hard for you to differentiate yourself from the competition. So you're really at the mercy of market fluctuations if you're in a commodity-based business. And especially with something like oil, which is also heavily influenced by politics, which just adds another layer of complexity to the whole thing. So yeah, if I haven't been buying stocks like ExxonMobil and whatnot, even though that you can make an argument, and a lot of people have made the argument that it is undervalued at the moment, but I'm just not a big fan of commodities. So anyways, that's that. Anyways, I also sold my shares of Costco at a cost of $346 per share. And I know you're like, why did you sell a great stock like Costco? Well, I was up like 15% on it, and I really wanted to take advantage of another opportunity that I saw at the time that I think can offer a little bit higher growth compared to Costco. And can you guess what that other stock is? Yeah, that's right. It is Tesla. So I bought 5 shares of Tesla at an average price of $392 per share, and I think anytime this stock dips below 400, it's a buy for me. I'm just gonna nibble away at it a little, and I'm not gonna bore you guys again with my bullish thesis on Tesla, because I know I get a lot of complaints from people down in the comments saying that I won't shut up about Tesla. So I won't talk about Tesla today, but if you want though, you can check out my reaction to Tesla Battery Day. I'll leave a link down below to that video in the description. Also, earlier in December, I decided to pick up 50 shares of Slack. Now, I still have my Slack calls, if you will recall, and currently I'm down like 3% on it, but I'm not really worried seeing that these are super long dated calls and I still have time to make money, and I do believe that in the long term, I'll make quite a decent profit on it. But I also decided to average in on some shares as well, just because I do think that this is a really good business that I want to get in on. So I also do want to own the underlying shares as well. So those were all my moves for September. And what's my plan for October going forward? Well, going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more defensive. And what I mean by that is I'm going to focus on building up a higher cash position. Again, because I realize I probably went a little bit too heavy, a little heavier than I would like in buying stocks during the end of August and beginning of September timeframe-ish. And at one point, my cash position had actually dropped under 5%, which is not good, because if a second crash had actually happened early September, and I'm not talking about the correction that we had, the stocks dipped a little in like September, obviously, as many of you know, but I'm talking about like a real crash, right? Like a crash. So if like a real crash happened, I would have been not that prepared. So I just want to go back to holding at least 25% of my portfolio in cash, probably ideally above 30%, so that I can be ready if a second crash does occur. That's going to be my plan going forward, and I'm always looking out for new opportunities and for new stocks to buy, right? So yeah, right now I'm not too confident on recovery stocks right now, just because I see that daily new infection rates are going up, and I really do fear that there's going to be a second shutdown. So yeah, for now I'm gonna stay out of my recovery stocks, and I know a lot of you might ask about REI.un and Air Canada, and I'm really conflicted on those at the moment because REI.un has been paying out dividends consistently, so I might just keep that one for the long term, just for the dividends. And Air Canada, they don't have dividends, but yeah, I'm kind of down on Air Canada at the moment, so I'm not sure if I want to take a loss on it. But I'll let you guys know about Air Canada. If the stock goes back to my break-even point or even higher, I might consider trimming some shares. But yeah, in the long term, if I have to sell at a loss, maybe I just rather hold. But yeah, I'm kind of conflicted on Air Canada at the moment. Let me know what you think about Air Canada down in the comments as well. So this video is getting a little long. I'll leave it here. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you like this series. Be sure to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. Links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.